Aloha world and welcome back to the Jacoby Jones Show. Today I have in the house with me one of my dear friends, content creator and influencer, Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. Thank you for having me, Jacoby. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I also have here with me my dear friend, founder and host of Complicated Discord podcast, Dex is in the house. Welcome back to the show, Dex.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I would say thank you for having me, but you haven't had me yet, Jacoby. I need more liquor
You know
for
what,
that.
Dex? You know what? We could work on that. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the Oscars. We're going to talk about mental health. And we're going to talk about relationships in a whole. Now, with all three of those topics together focused on the Oscars, when this whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing went down, what was your first initial thought or response, reaction? How did it make you feel? We're going to start with Anna.
Well, these are the best actors sitting in a room, so it made me feel like it was totally staged. But we're going to go into the topic of the relationship side and how everyone else sees it. So it'll be interesting.
You really thought it was staged?
I mean, dude,
like,
these are
do you still think it was staged?
I don't know. Are these people willing to do all that? But then again, they're famous. They can do whatever they want.
That's true. What did you think, Dex?
Well, I didn't watch the Oscars. I woke up the morning to check my phone for the time, and I had a million notifications talking about the slap heard around the world. And I was like, what the fuck? So I pulled it up, and honestly, when I first saw it, I thought it was SNL. I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. So I had to look through multiple sites to make sure that somebody wasn't just fucking with me, because the internet is fast.
Yeah. So I what I saw, I think, is something that everyone else didn't see. What my initial thought was, this can't be real. Oh my God, is this real? And then as it moved forward and you saw people's reaction, saw Chris's discombobulation. He couldn't even get his words out properly as he was trying to present the award. It was very real. And then once I got through that, I saw a man in pain, trauma, unhealed wounds. And I saw this this piece on the internet from Emmanuel, this host of this other podcast, saying that the first chapter of his book talked about how he's afraid of being a coward and he tried to defend his family and all those things. And I instantly knew in my head, this is about to turn into Jada's fault. Everything is about to go left because they always want to blame Jada for everything. I don't know why. We are in this low frequency of society where everything's a woman's fault and men can't take any responsibility for things. But this is where we are. What do you think about that, Anna? Oh, wait, Dex, you seem like you got something you want to say.
Dex,
go ahead.
Go for it.
Real quick, listen, the reason this Jada's fault, listen, y'all acting surprised like y'all don't know that there are pussies that start war. Look at Alexandria. Hold on, I'm thinking about the right person.
Well, you know what, though? That's unfair. That's my prime example. My prime example is with Alexander, right? This man chose to fight this man over this woman. But how is that the woman's fault?
It's not. Like I said, this ties back to the whole thing about how I believe that women are sensitive and men are emotional. And if this whole thing does not show you how emotional men can be, men aren't just emotional with their emotions. They're emotionally physical,
Yes.
Because a man's instant reaction, a man thinks that protecting is fighting. That doesn't always mean that you're protecting or granting someone protection,
No, but with society, the way society defines masculine now, men are being told and raised to think that I have to always stand up for people. I have to fight all of these battles. I have to be the tough one. I got to be the strong one, because the minute I show any weakness, everyone is going to see that. Everyone is going to now be like, okay, now he a bitch. Now I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm not saying it's right, but that's how a lot of
the world we live in. That's the society and the judgment that we live in. I get that, but also with knowing that, you can also choose to not give a fuck about what society thinks and conduct yourself and behave in a different way.
You absolutely could, but I want you to put yourself on either man's shoe in that specific event. If that was real, mind you, then Will on one hand is hearing this man is disrespecting my wife. I mean, for one, she's bold and she's sensitive, but for two, she can't help this, and I'm pissed off now. Plus everything else has been in him. I'm sick of people shitting on her, and he could have snapped off. On the other end, you have a man who's like, oh man, she's bold. I didn't see that. I'm gonna make a joke about it, regardless of whether he knew or not, because we don't know if he knew. Right. But you sitting up here telling a story, making a joke, and randomly somebody you think that y'all are cool comes up and slaps the shit out of you,
and then also
in front of millions of people.
Also, in that perspective, someone that you thought you were cool with takes a jab at your wife's medical condition.
I think Will Smith set the example. He's like, yo, I'm tired of this shit. Who's next? Because Chris got slapped. Who the fuck's next? You know what I mean?
You're right, but
you right.
But you know who didn't get slapped? August Alsina. Just saying.
Well, I mean, see, that's different. Okay, you know what?
Situation.
That's different because with the August situation, first let me break down some information to you before you judge the August
Let me say one thing. Now you can break it down. One thing about different situations. I don't give it. You could talk about my wife all day. I personally think sticking a dick in her is 10 times worse, in my personal opinion. But hey, you know what? Maybe I'm the asshole.
It is. Cheating is personally worse. I agree with it. Versus, because that's a physical act. But with this August situation, they have both publicly said, which is why I commend them for being honest in their truths, and that's a whole nother thing I want to talk about later. But they both publicly said that they were unhappy with each other, and they both knew it. So then they separated, and Will was like, "I'm done. I'm done with you." And they separated privately, right? Mm-hmm. With Jada became entangled with August. They were still legally married, but that's what happened. Her and August had their little thing, did what they did while in the process of them being separated and moving forward. I don't know if they really moved forward with divorce plans, but they separated. Then August, as she said, because the dick was good. You got nicknames when the dick good. She called him Og. Og decided to end it with her. He ended it with her. Then she was left in her feelings, in her sensitive space. She got herself together. They got back together. They patched things up, and now they've moved forward. The only reason we know any of this information is because August decided to go public and start telling their business. They had already, August was like a year or more in the past for them already. And then August decided to seek some attention because he had an album coming out and started talking about his relationship with Jada Pinkett in a podcast interview. And then the shit just turned into wildfire. And then they had to address it, and they went on the Red Table Talk and did it. And ever since then, it's been like Jada's some horrible woman and she needs to treat Will better and do this and it's like, they're human. They had it.
That all comes with the whole word relationship. Like I told you guys, for two couples that are famous and have this much power in our society to sit at a table and publicly be open about their problems, I think it brought out the fact that like a lot of people do go through that shit, dude, but not everybody's willing to talk about it. Not everybody's willing to sit down on TV and expose like, hey, dude, like I did this to you. I commend Jada for being so fucking honest because, it is really hard to be honest for a lot of people. And especially when it comes to cheating. And how you mentioned how she went back to Will, like after, I guess, Og had said that he had ended it with her. Dude, Can we all agree that like sneaky links give you like a weird high? And then once they're gone, it's kind of like, you know what? Like, this is the real world. Like, you can be high on some good dick, yo.
Yes. Oh,
Jacoby, you can't agree with that shit because you know what? We ain't gonna bring your personal life into this.
Thank you. What's your opinion on the topic?
Listen. I agree. I personally, I don't give a shit about their situation. I don't give a fuck. It don't concern me. Here's my thing. You're right. Because they're famous, this is getting dragged out in the media. Right. Yeah, was August Alsina a bitch? He absolutely was. Were they on a break? We are led to understand. Were they prior in a open relationship?
They were unhappy.
Goddamn absolutely. So at the end of the day, they set these limits of what they were okay with and what they were not okay with. How they decide to handle it is on them. If she fucked up and made somebody feel a certain type of way, that's on her. But if he chose to take her back, then honestly, and I say this all the time to people, if you're going to stay with someone that you felt did you wrong, either let that shit go or leave. Because then if you're going to be in this relationship and always drag it behind you and bring it up and throw it in the person's face, you pretty much already said this relationship ain't going nowhere. I'm not saying forget it, but either let it go or move the fuck on.
Yeah, it's like beating a dead horse, running in circles. Definitely. When you bring up the past in a relationship, it's running in circles. I mean, I was in a toxic relationship and it was like when he did something wrong, I'm like, damn, you did this and you damn bitches. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people aren't willing to put shit aside, but like, I commend them as a fucking couple because they worked their differences out. I mean, at least it's what it sounded like. I'm sure they did the therapy and like moved forward. Right. Yo, not anybody can fucking do that.
Two things. Three things, I guess. You're right. Not everyone could do that. For example, I am one of them. I am toxic. I will tell you right now, I'm toxic as hell. Here's what you must understand. And this, I will always give Will Smith I will give him applause for this one. Jacoby, I have openly said, I am not emotionally mature enough to know about the kind of hoe you was in the past before we got together.
Right. But this is the key thing. Concerned, she said men are emotional. You're right. I appreciate your honesty.
That's me. And listen, Anna, if me and you were together, as far as I was concerned, even if you got 6 kids, there was no dick before me. None of that happened. You were new to me.
But why are men like this? Why can't we all have a past?
I can't explain other men. I can explain for me. I don't want to know about your past because at the end of the day, I don't know how I'm going to feel about certain things. You understand? I might be cool with you sucking 6 penises a day. If that's what you chose to do. I might have a problem with you letting the guy sniff your hair. I don't know, so I don't want to know because you might tell me some shit.
Why don't you want to know though? Me and him have disagreed about this from the dawn of the day. I want to know those things.
Listen, the only thing I would like to know is if you came in here saying, look, I was in a 6-year relationship where I slept with 300 guys every day and now I'm here for you. I want to know that because that's kind of scary.
Why are you bringing up my past?
It's none of your business.
No one knew it was you, Jacoby. That was our secret.
Like, if you weren't a part of someone's past, you're not anybody to judge unless the person chose to open up and be honest with you and you mutually had that understanding of let's talk about our past.
Okay, now here's the thing with that. A lot of people talk about this shit about they're not judgmental and they're okay with things. You know what? You're okay with some shit until you're not okay with it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? You're okay with me coming to your house and drinking out of your cups until you found out I just sucked 6 dicks before I came over to your house and drank out of your cups, right?
No, that's your cup. That's your cup.
There you go. You're using that cup.
That's your cup.
And that's exactly my point. I'm not coming to your house trying to, oh nigga, that's the only cup you use from now. Your name is on it. I ain't engraved it. That's not going to be me. I don't want to know because you might tell me something that I might find to be ridiculous. I might hate it. I prefer to love you as the person I met rather than to know you as who you were in the past that you may not be anymore.
Right. But I think I agree with that. Definitely. Because I believe that when you start a relationship, like you're getting to know them from that day forward. Like, okay, we're building a relationship now. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you need to learn about the person. And some people aren't open about their past. Like there's a difference between past relationships and past like sexual shit you've done with people, but then there's traumas. Like, would you change your opinion on a woman if she sat there and told you like, I was raped 60 times growing up?
Exactly. No.
But no. you would have a different opinion.
Actually, no, yes.
If she fucked 60 dudes.
No, hold on. Yes, my opinion would change immediately. Absolutely. Because now I realize I have to approach this whole situation different, regardless of why I got into it. My opinion of you will change with everything you say. You might say you don't like chess, and I'm like, this bitch is an airhead. You might say you like chess, and I'm like, this bitch is a nerd. My opinion will always change from A to B, no matter what you say to me. You understand? I mean, I get where you're going. I get your point with it, but at the end of the day, that's me. I can only ever speak for me and what I want and what I don't want.
Well, now, you are interesting breed, Dex. You are interesting.
I actually like that you're speaking that you can only speak for yourself, because a lot of men get behind that fucking mic and they speak for men as a whole.
Right.
Sir, we're all fucking different. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the same as every woman. You can't compare me to a fucking white woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is.
But that is a prime thing with what happened at the Oscars because they had a friendship going on. And now what I like about the thing the most, even though I hate that it happened, as inappropriate and maybe putting some tarnish on Will Smith's career, these are human beings. You know what I mean? And I've had so many conversations with different people over the past few days that get lost in the sauce of arguing with me about how they feel so bad for Will and Jada's doing him so wrong and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait, but there's still
Are those heterosexual men saying that?
No,
Listen.
actually, I had a very
No?
intense conversation with a black female friend who's married, and she felt like Jada is not doing her part protecting
Bum,
Will.
bum,
And
bum.
no, nigga, no,
Oh, what does
no.
that just have to do with fucking Jada protecting
agree.
Will? That's
I
Will
could-
protecting Jada. You know what I mean?
No, so
Listen,
which my friend's
listen.
argument was
And-
Jada didn't protect Will where August was trying to run up in there.
I heard that. Yeah, I did hear that.
And then I'm just like, but
Ooh.
no.
See, that doesn't matter. It don't matter because Will chose to stay.
Right,
Listen,
exactly.
I mean, he chose to work it out. Can we not say he chose to stay? They chose
Right.
to settle their differences.
Right,
They
I agree.
moved
That's a good, that's a
forward.
better way. That's a healthier,
Okay,
more politically way
I
to
agree.
put it.
Yeah.
Here is my biggest point. Like I said, I feel like Will acted poorly in this situation. And again, who am I to judge? Because my definition of poor and yours are two different things, you know,
Mhm.
of chivalry, so to speak. But here's my thing. I definitely know Will is stronger than me because, like I said, I don't want to hear certain information. This man was not only able to hear from media and the world that his wife was cucking him. You understand what I'm saying? He had the fucking strength to sit down across the table from her and listen to her tell him how, when, and why it happened. I am not strong enough for that.
That is
I
painful.
will jump across the table on a motherfucker, but that's me.
That's
I know
I think
this.
I love that he did that because it definitely set an example for men like you that
Yeah.
would not be emotionally strong enough. Because look,
Yes.
that's an emotional thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a very sensitive, emotional topic, but man, I commend Will for being able to sit at that red table and listen
I
to his
do
wife
too.
say, I was unhappy. I was unhappy with you.
Understand?
Hey, I was unhappy
Will-
with your sex.
Will-
She said a lot of stuff.
Listen. Will can't be an example to me of how to be another person. I can only choose these options on my own. You get what I'm saying? Now, at the
Right.
end of the day, I am not saying that I wouldn't eventually want to be there. I just know as of now, I know where I am and I'm just not there. I cannot sit down and listen to my old lady tell me how her side dude was busting it open. That shit would destroy me. I would not be able to look at you the same ever again because every time I look at you, that's all I'm going to see. But again, that's me. I can only
That's
ever speak
you,
for me.
yeah.
Will was stronger
You know,
than me,
and
and I
I'm
applaud him
so-
for that.
I'm so on the opposite side of the fucking spectrum because I'm so like, tell me why, when, where, what'd you do?
Me
What
too.
were you
Me
wearing?
too. I'm
What were
like,
you
I want
wearing?
to
What
know
was she wearing?
every fucking
See,
thing.
like,
Tell me
you know
right
what
now.
I'm saying?
How many times did
hold
you
on.
come?
See-
Did you really like it? Did
See-
you make that face with this motherfucker?
Did you
I
pull
wanna-
that bitch's hair? Like,
See, that's the problem. That's the problem with that. It's not that I don't want to know. I just don't want to know because at the
You're
end of
just
the day,
not
I don't wanna-
emotionally
What does
strong
that
enough
mean?
to know.
I
Hold
don't
on.
want to know, but I don't
Hold
want to
on.
know.
I want. You ever heard the statement? Don't ask questions if you don't want the answer.
Right.
That's for me. That is the definition. I would love to know what happened, but the minute you tell me and my mind starts to picture this and put this together, it's going to kill me inside. Because at the end
And
of
that's,
the day,
but you
if
know
I
what
don't
though,
know, I
and
can
I don't
assume-
mean this in a funny way. I
Look.
mean this in an all male way because I had to come to an evolution, right? With my prior relationship, there was some cheating. I wanted to know they were lying. I'm like, no, you don't know. I need you to tell me this stuff because otherwise it's going to bother me and I'm not going to be able to move forward with trust. But then also in the process of me being told the things that I asked to know, I had to deal with the emotional barrier of not love, like being able to continue to love you moving forward, like to continue to keep the love flowing and not just get stuck where I loved you to this ability and then now I know all these things and now my love is swayed. I still had to learn how to keep the love flowing past that, right? So I had to get a more emotionally stable to do that. And when you can't handle that, it's a little unstable.
well, yeah, because I think the hardest part about wanting to know the truth is that you can't have selective hearing once you ask for it.
Right.
And it's not only that. Here's the problem. Here's the biggest issue. If you did something that I feel like you're not telling me the truth on, no matter what you're gonna tell me, I'm gonna believe what I want. You understand? You could tell me exactly how it happened, but if I want to believe that y'all drove to Washington and rented an Airbnb instead of flowers and made love for 13 hours straight, but somehow you got home 20 minutes late from work, I'm going to, that's what my head is going to make up. And now, instead of me having one thing I got to concern myself with, okay, she did this. Now I'm going to have to concern if, okay, she did this, but now she might be lying to me to not hurt my feelings.
But
I got
that
issues.
is
That's self-sabotage kind of though. Like,
that
why
feels
would
like
think
that's
so much
just
like
trust
that?
issues, and
See,
you know.
See,
Yeah.
hold on. See, you guys call it self-sabotage, but that's what I'm saying though. That's why for me, I prefer don't tell me. That's easier for me. Everyone
Right.
isn't like me. You understand?
That's
But
true.
if I do ask you and you tell me, I am going to find it hard to trust what you're
But
saying.
here's the thing, like
and it's gonna be
you
a
don't
rabbit
want to be
hole.
told. You don't want to be told. But
No, no.
then why are you going to overthink about it if you don't want to know? What the fuck? Like that makes no sense to me.
Because it's one of those asking questions you don't really want the answer to. You understand what I'm saying? I want to know, but do I really want to know? Like it's kind of
So
like I
are
said,
you
I would never
saying
You
ask,
would
that
rather
it's
wonder.
easier,
You'd rather wonder.
it's quicker
I
for
would
you
never,
to
I would
get
never
over
ask,
it?
I would never ask a young lady, hey, you know, on the scale of small to big dicks, where was I? And you're just because I don't want to know. What if she says I'm the smallest? That would hurt my feelings. What if
So
she said that I wasn't the smallest, but they were bigger after me? That might also hurt my feelings. I would prefer just to not know and live my life in the blissful ass fucking ignorance. The only thing I ask you is if I am slacking in an area, you just let me know so I could make up for it. You understand what I'm
Right.
telling you?
So
Don't
what
tell
I'm
me I'm the smallest
hearing,
dick out of your roster of 5, but say, hey, you know what? It would be cool if you know you did this because I like this, and let me feel like okay, I'm learning here.
Right.
But the minute you tell me something that hurts my feelings, that's gonna always now be on the forefront. It's gonna linger
Right.
there, and even if I want to let it go, even if I want to fix things, I'm not gonna be able to because that's all I'm gonna ever see.
so what I'm hearing is that you
Have issues.
you know that the for you the process of heat or getting over it or moving forward through it is the less I know, the quicker we can just move on.
Yep. Don't
Yeah.
tell me any unnecessary information. I don't want to know that you stroked his hair.
That
and
that
you took
is
off his shirt
that,
slow.
that
He had a tattoo
you know
on his chest. Like, I don't need
everyone's
to know this.
cut off for a different person because I couldn't be with someone like you because I would first of all I would want to tell you things and I would want to fucking know. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like me and you are not compatible.
Well,
Plus you got
here's my thing,
27
Jacoby.
kids.
Understand something. You could want me to know, but here's my thing though. You do have to accept the fact of after you tell me, you can't dictate how I'm gonna react.
No shit. Yeah, but
That's all I'm saying.
But
I'm not saying you can't tell me.
what I really have to accept the fact of, and most people do, you have to accept the fact when you reach a place and you just have to accept we're not compatible, we're not meant to be. That has been one of the most interesting things. That has been one of the most interesting things for me with this Will and Jada thing, with the bashing and the backlash on how, you know, if the roles were reversed, right, with this Will and Jada and August situation, right, society would be saying, well, you know, he's just a man, and he's telling you who he is.
He
told
happen.
you his truth. Wait, he told you his truth, and you either need to just get over it and leave him, or leave him. You either gonna put up with it or you're gonna leave him. But because the roles are reversed, and it's the woman being bold and bodacious and telling her truth and exploring herself, they're saying, instead of saying, Will, she's just telling you her truth. She's just telling you how she feels. You need to accept it and move on. Instead of that being the society's response, society is responding where she's just a bad woman. She needs to be a better wife. I can't believe she did him like this. It's not fair.
I hate when women are pinning like themselves against Jada. Like, you don't know what she's going through. You don't know anything. Why are you so opinionated? Like, a lot of women haven't even hashed out their relationship problems, and those are the women that are talking about this the most. Like, shut the fuck up. You got shit to work out at home. Shut the fuck up.
And you know another thing too is that my cousin of mine told me that it's so funny that most of the time, like in situations like this, society is more pissed off than the people going through the shit. Like they got over this. You know what I mean? And society is more mad than the person who actually dealing with it. Society's more mad for Chris Rock than Chris Rock is even mad. Chris Rock is still off somewhere. You know, his ticket sales, he has a tour coming up in Australia and in New Zealand. He was selling tickets for $45 to $65. His ticket sales spiked overnight. And then the next day they rose the ticket prices to $350 a ticket. And he still sold out. He's doing fine.
That slap ought to be the best thing that happened to him, as far as we know.
Right.
Listen, well, here's my thing. Like I said, everything that we know about this situation is basically conjecture. We're knowing a he said, she said. None of us were there. None of us know the intimate details of what happened leading up to that. So we don't know that Chris Rock knew about her alopecia. I mean, there's a video where Will says he feels like Chris knew or Chris should have known. They've had conversations. But again, we don't know because I forget. I'm constantly like, yo, I could have sworn we had this conversation, Jacoby. You're like, no, nigga, we did not. I'm like, yes, the fuck we did. Tuesday, and you're like, that wasn't me. Like, sometimes we make mistakes. At the end of the day, Will Smith did overreact. I will say Chris Rock reacted in very
Demir, what's the word?
He
He was shook, yo. Like
he wasn't.
I know we're
he
looking for
was
a big
shook.
word, but he was shook. Like I
He
told
was-
you guys earlier, those
He was
5
shook.
seconds, 3 to 5 seconds after the slap was like, did he really just
Yeah, it wasn't.
nah? You
It
know?
wasn't shook, man. It was confusion. Like, did this nigga just slap? Hold on a second.
Yes.
Are we? Did you punk me? Are we really here? Is this really happening?
Is this really happening?
Because
Yep.
honestly, most of the time, your first response would have been to punch him in his shit. In fact, the fact that Will slapped him and didn't punch him in the face was a lot for me. Like, you had enough forwithal to walk up on stage planning all of this shit out, and you couldn't think, let me punch this man in the face so he could have a little bit of respect rather than open hand and slap him because he's not. Look, anyway, regardless of the whole situation, Chris Rock isn't pressing charges. Will Smith apologized. Chris Rock apologized. Regardless of whether it was a big misunderstanding, I do feel that you're right, that society is going to blow this up into a bigger thing. And honestly, I feel like if they don't give a fuck about it, we should mind our own goddamn business and move on with our lives, because that shit ain't going to put gas in your tank. Keep in mind, gas is like $8 now. So
Okay, I don't know if we had said it in this video, is the one that the before. This took away so much attention from so many things that actually fucking matter, okay? We have war going on. And the fact that everybody's concerned about this shit and other shit, like, bro, huh?
Yeah. Well, it also took away from a huge amount of Black excellence that happened at
Right,
the
it
Oscars.
did.
I
It did,
mean,
because
Will
this
Packard, you know,
This
from
put Black people in a position where now it's like, oh, well, white people are like, oh, well, Black people are violent. Like,
No.
violence isn't allowed, but it is on the systemic level. You know what I'm
speaking
saying?
of white people,
No.
right? How
Hey,
do
you
you
know-
feel about the white response to this whole Will Smith?
It doesn't
thing?
matter. They're not allowed to speak on.
here
They're
is
not allowed to speak on us or any of that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? At all.
I feel that way too, but you know that they do.
here is
They're the
my
first
opinion.
ones to say something.
And you know
Here's
what?
my opinion on that. It hasn't even been a week since this slap happened, and you have a bunch of whiter skinned folks
White
giving their opinion on these things.
Whites.
Right. I
You know,
saw a
they're-
news.
They're
I saw a
whiter
news
skinned.
anchor, right, and she went into this whole space of just what the media does to people of color. When people of color
Right.
act out and behave, it is disgusting and violent and da-da-da. And I do feel like if it had been two white men that this had happened to, it would be. We feel so.
Well,
Can you
hold
only
on, hold on,
imagine?
hold on.
When people
can
of
you only
color,
imagine what's been going through Will
Hold on.
Smith's head before he slapped him?
when people
The
of color
pain,
act
the
like
trauma. He
So
needs
listen,
help.
It's not.
this, no,
it's
the
not
white
even-
man's always going to use people of color's pain and the reactions to situations to validate their opinion and the way that they say that we're fucking crazy, we're more emotional.
It's
Nah.
it's about selling it to the media. Let me point something out to you. Now, like I said, this happened less than a week ago, and you have a bunch of whiter skinned people sitting down making their comments on the whole situation of how people should feel and how people should act. Here's my thing: you are vilifying people over a slap. Don't get me wrong; it's disrespectful. But it's a slap. But yet we're making a movie about Elvis Presley. I mean, didn't that man have like a 14-year-old wife?
I can't believe that's the thing. Like, they're really doing that.
Yeah, no,
Well,
yeah, they're doing
I
it.
hope this brings to light how much white men have fucking, like, what they've done to fucking women of color. The raping, the abuse, our history as a whole of people of color. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Matter of fact, fuck that movie.
What do you want the world? What do you think? What would be the best way to move forward with this? I think that this is gonna be over in a week. I want this to be over in a
going
week,
to be
like
over in a
normal
week.
tabloid shit. But I feel like the white media and world is going to basically
White people are gonna try to
drag him.
analyze the fuck out of
They're
this.
not gonna stop talking about
Right, white people
how
are gonna analyze the shit out of it.
how he took the Oscars and turned it to the Blaskers because it was just Black people acting wild. Like he really and again, like it was a night of like the Blaskers, right? Where all these Black people were at the Oscars and doing all these amazing things and nominees and, hosts and, musicians. And then one moment of 5 seconds of lashing out in with bad behavior overshadows
It took
the whole
away from
thing.
all of that.
It overshadows the whole thing.
And like I had said earlier, I hate the fact that people work their ass off to become successful and we can't act like normal people.
Hey, let me point something out to you.
Well, he is
You
normal.
can't-
It's just he's going
You
through
can't
some shit.
take away from something you've never had.
What do
I
you
mean,
mean?
you guys are sitting down saying it's a moment of black excellence, and you took away from that, right? But let's be perfectly honest. If this is the moment, then the people that's watching it really don't think that we're all that excellent. It's throw them a bone. You understand?
Okay.
Well, it wasn't the viewer that was the issue with the Oscars and
Well,
black people not being a part of it. It was the foundation. It was
and
the
that's exactly my point. Throw the dog a bone. Let them have it. At the end of the day, that's not even the important part. What I feel like society is the issue. It's not just it's society. We're in a position to where we will allow this shit to happen just because it's fucking entertaining, and we will keep feeding into it regardless of who is dealing with the backlash and the outcome, because we find that it's funny or dramatic, or we need to watch somebody else's marriage or life go into flames because ours ain't shit to begin with. You understand? I mean, look at it this way. I feel like at the end of the day, everyone is talking about what could have happened and what this is, but no one is putting themselves in each other person's shoe. And one end of the day, you have Will sitting here saying, hey, you know what? I'm being chivalrous. I'm trying to protect my wife's honor. Or like he said, he thought he knew. Hey, I spoke to him about this. He needs to stop. But since he's not, I'm going to fix this. It could have been one of them situations where he was just like, yo, we just got out of the car. She was talking about how she was self-conscious, and he brings it up. It could have been a very, very, like you said, emotional
day.
It could have been. Yeah. We don't know. On the other end of the day, maybe Chris Rock did know and was being malicious as fuck. Maybe he deserved the slap. Maybe he really didn't know. Maybe it had slipped his mind. Maybe he saw her. He didn't see her and said, oh my God, she's bald. Let's make fun of that. Because as a comedian, that's what you do. You go for people and you try to make it as funny as possible. Because think about it. If she would have laughed, it wouldn't have been an issue.
It's a risk.
Or if that had been Leslie Jones,
that's a risk. It's a risky business when you're doing stuff like that as a comedian.
Like, why didn't Chris Rock think, man, I'm really disrespecting Will Smith's wife? Like, can we sometimes we have to be serious. And I know Chris Rock's a comedian, right? But like, dude.
But again, you're assuming he knew about the
alopecia.
Because like I said, when you're a comedian, you're just on. You have to be on the minute you hit that stage. And if you're gonna, pick out from the crowd and just shoot the shit with them, you have to assume that. You understand? Because I might see you in the crowd, and because you might be bald, it doesn't mean that you have alopecia. It could mean you have cancer, or maybe you just enjoy how you look like with a bald head. Because a lot of women are shaving their heads now. You can't differentiate the fact that, oh my God, she's bald, so I shouldn't make fun of her just because of a plethora of things that it could be.
Hold on 1 second.
If he knew, he deserved it. But if he didn't, you can't sit down and say, oh my God, he's a dickhead for that. Because if I'm a comedian you walk into the show and
Wait a minute now. Hold on. What I feel like I'm hearing right now from you, Dex, is a bunch of excuses for bad behavior.
No. I'm not making excuses for bad behavior. What I am simply saying is, at the end of the day, before we judge them, you kind of have to understand their situations. We don't know what happened in either their situations after or before that. You understand?
And when I say bad behavior, I mean both. Bad joke, bad behavior. I mean, bad reaction. Both of them behave badly.
Okay.
You shouldn't have said something like that.
It's a chain reaction, though. Like, if there was no bad joke, there would have been no bad behavior.
First of all, back up. Listen. The joke was only bad because of the alopecia. I didn't know about it, so you can't guarantee that he knew. If we assume,
I don't agree. I disagree. Right? I think that the joke was bad in a whole because we live in a society where men attach so much of a woman's worth to her beauty, and then they attach her beauty to her looks and her hair, and therefore, even if she did shave it herself because she's trying to be like a empowered woman, is inappropriate to poke at her beauty, regardless of the lack.
Women's beauty standards have been set for
First of all, men didn't set the beauty. Well, hold on, let me rephrase that. I don't know if hold on before you come at me. Understand something, and this is gonna sound kind of fucked up, but Anna, let me tell you something. If you shaved your head right now, I can guarantee you there'll still be a line of guys trying to smash on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, a man just wants a warm hole to slide into. I get
exactly.
that.
I don't give a fuck if you have hair or not.
Bald head or not.
Exactly. I'm a smash bald head or not. So at the end of the day, you can't sit down and assume, oh my God, because she's bald, she's less beautiful. No, maybe it might be because
assume that. That is what the masculine society has instilled in the conversation of what beauty is.
She's not bald by choice. She's not bald by choice.
Yes, but he didn't know. Okay, hold on. Again, we're assuming. If we're going off of the fact that he knew what he was talking about. You're sitting now saying that she has alopecia, but understand something. He might have made the joke and she just happened to have alopecia. You understand? It's like me making a joke about
but that's inappropriate. Then you shouldn't take that risk. It all boils down to risk.
That's comedy,
and consequences. I mean,
comedy.
Yes, and he took the risk. He took the risk and he got the consequence. And Will took the risk and he's receiving the consequence too.
It's risky. It is risky. I'm not saying it's not. But my point is, it was a joke. He didn't know that it was going to be that personal. Maybe he did. I don't know. But if we're going to
triggered the fuck out of Will Smith.
And you're right. That was a trigger. Now, like I said, it was a joke. That is a physical, a verbal joke, a verbal insult. No matter what the fuck I say to you, should almost never solicit a physical reaction. You shouldn't punch me in the face because I said your titties are saggy, or because
you can't put degrees
on it. If
you
said my titties were saggy, I would punch the fuck out of your face, because that's not a joke. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Well, someone could be trying to make it a joke, though. And
what if I said it we were joking around?
We don't joke. It's 2022.
Some people don't want to be the butt of jokes.
It's 2022. We don't make jokes about the way people fucking look. We don't make jokes about their hair.
Hold on. We don't. People make them jokes all the goddamn
time. Shouldn't though. I'm just saying we shouldn't. There we go.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't make fun of someoone's looks and ailments.
No, that opens a whole other door. Like,
of trauma, triggers, and ass
whooping. This all plays back to how we had mentioned. Okay, go have it.
But you know what though? It's a comedy show. When you go to comedy shows, you expect certain levels of fucked up shit to be said.
It's hire.
It's an award show. They hire comedians to try to add some relief to the night, and he took a risk and he didn't succeed.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But getting punched in the face for a bad joke is not acceptable. At the end of the day, all I'm saying
depends on the joke.
All I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you should never punch somebody in the face over some disrespectful shit they say, because I cannot dictate how you react to disrespect. Because if somebody calls my child a niglet, I'm gonna knock their fucking skin off their skin. That's me. That's gonna be my first reaction.
But you're putting degrees on what verbal abuse that's okay and not okay.
No. I'm not putting degrees on anything. I'm just saying you can't dictate how someone reacts to what you say.
Abuse. I would say verbal bullying.
Same. Yeah. The point is, disrespect is disrespect. How people see things differently. My point is, we don't know anything that happened to or after this. I do feel like if they're willing to let it go, it should be let go, but it's not going to be. But keep in mind, Will Smith should have known better, because he is a role model. People look up to him. You have kids mimicking him. Kids are growing up.
But he's also a person.
No, you're right. You're right.
You have to think that, like, not in every life situation you have to be a role model, dude.
You're right. But you know what he just did? He just invalidated the fact that any of his kids or any kids in the future of not hitting somebody just because they made you mad, or because
you can't hold Will Smith responsible for that shit though, because kids have their own parents.
It don't matter. My point is, and what if he has another child later on with Jada or with someone else? He can't tell that child you can't hit somebody because you're mad.
Sure, he can,
because he just told the world. That the Fresh Prince put Fresh Prince on somebody's face, so that's okay. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing. I'm slapping niggas now because the Fresh Prince told me I could do it.
I mean, I see. I think again, if you're holding him to a way higher standard than he's a human. He may be famous, he may be in the public eye, but he is a human. Now, his degree of how serious he wants to take his responsibility as a role model is his prerogative. Okay, but he is a human being who has issues and traumas and problems.
Like he had said in his book, what you had mentioned earlier in the first chapter, him talking about how he felt like he could not protect his mother. He now has so much money. He's fucking Will Smith. He can protect his wife. He can do that. He can stand the fuck up and slap the shit out of Chris Rock now.
Let me tell you something. Exactly.
And deal with the consequences.
And still make money off that shit.
I'm not holding Will Smith to no higher level of anything. He's a man just like I am. I don't feel like he's any different other than a couple $1 million, but fuck, money ain't everything. So I don't give a shit. As far as I'm concerned, he's a man just like me. Here's what I'm saying is there are people that emulate that. People will sit down and complain about Cardi B's song being offensive to fucking kids, but yet won't say anything about this man making it now to where you can't tell kids it's not okay to slap someone when you're angry. You understand what I'm saying? People will take out of it what they want to take out of it. Period. Ain't shit anyone could say or do about that.
I think those are two very different examples.
But you're right,
The
though. People
songs
do
get
take away.
censored.
People take away
There's
what they
clean
want.
versions of the song.
People want to take away what they want to take away from it, right? And I do agree with you on that. And people are going to be more pissed off than the people who are actually going through this. This society is in an uproar.
Right.
And they're more upset. And actually, everything from the slap to Will and Jada's entanglements,
Jacoby,
they're still doing okay.
Jacoby, the best way I heard it is there are two type of people in the world: those that are pissed off and those that are pissed on. Which would you prefer to be?
On.
You whore. You dirty whore. You dirty whore.
Oh, and on that note,
I didn't even think about it like that. I was like,
really,
wait.
I really appreciate this conversation. It has been fun. I feel like we got Will Smith, Jada, and Chris Rock here right now. I'm looking at the background and I was looking at all of our skin tones. I was like, we will, Jada.
Wait, I'm
just letting you know, Jacoby, I don't care if we friends or not, man. You slapped the shit out of me in front of hundreds, not even millions, hundreds of people. We got a duel. So I'm gonna demand satisfaction. Right. One of us got to die.
It felt like that too. I was waiting for the moment. I mentioned earlier that when I was waiting for after he slapped him, I was waiting for him to throw a glove on the ground and be like, and now we duel. I was like, what is he doing? Me personally, that shit was tense. I felt like the only way Will could have fixed that situation that come out even is him to like suck his dick right there, like slap. Now we both embarrassed, so let's just move on with our lives. I'm just saying. That would have been hot. Chris Rock gives me little dick vibes, so Will Smith give me dang-a-lang vibes. But anyway,
forearm. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you guys so much for being here today. This is a fun conversation. I really enjoy the different opinions and views and the insight and the education. It's really a good time chatting with you too. You can find Anna on TikTok and Instagram. I'll have her linked in. You can find Dex as the host of Complicated Discord, and he has a bartending career that's becoming very popular in the Florida area. You should check him out. And love yourselves, as we always say here on the Jacoby Jones Show. Love yourself and don't forget to smile.